Hey everyone, welcome back to Switchback F1. This is the first video on this channel and I want to start it out with a bang. To do so, I'm going to talk about a guy with 164 starts in F1. He won 3 races as well as podiums at Le Mans and a championship in US GT1, but started out all of his racing exploits being arrested by police for racing around fields in his mum's Fiat 500. This guy was a born racer and a certified mad lad. I'm talking about none other than Thierry Boutsen. Thierry Boutsen was born on the 13th of July 1957 in Belgium, Brussels. In 1975 he joined the engineering school in Zolder, but truly found his passion for racing in 1978. He raced in a Crosley across the Benelux region, winning 15 out of 18 races. It's fair to say it didn't take long for him to capture the eye of his idol and F1 legend, Jackie Ickx. With Ickx's support in 1979, Boutsen joined Formula 3. The first year didn't go great, but in 1980 he had 3 wins and missed out on the championship to eventual champion Michele Alboreto. The following year, in 1981, he went on to have blisteringly quick speed in qualifying on pole 5 out of the 12 rounds. But it was retirements and unreliability that marred his season. Retirements at places like Silverstone, Thruxton, Hockenheim and Mugello eventually led to Jeff Lees winning the championship that year, and for Boutsen, another runner-up story. In 1983, he dipped his toes into sports cars and touring cars, winning his first ever Group C race in Monza. This would be the same year he would debut for F1 after paying $500,000 to Arrow to debut at his home race in Belgium. Following this, he stayed at Arrows for 4 years, but where a real step up came was Benetton in 1987. Consistent points and a podium in Adelaide saw him finish 8th in the championship. What most people remember Thierry Boutsen for, however, is his time at Williams. This was the peak of his F1 career and he got the opportunity due to Mansell leaving in '88 for Ferrari. The following season in 1989, he actually won his first ever Grand Prix, the Canadian Grand Prix, after Senna's engine brake late on. A lot of people still call this a lucky win, however, due to a 360-degree spin mid-race. He had another win in the rain-soaked Australian Grand Prix, a race he protested shouldn't even start due to the weather. He ended up 5th in the standings, 1 point behind Nigel Mansell, the guy he replaced. Not bad, right? Then came 1990. He won again with a lights-to-flag victory in Hungary and finishing 6th overall in the championship, beating teammate Patrese. But despite having more wins over their time together, Frank Williams felt Patrese was more consistent, and with Mansell wanting back in 91, Boutsen was shown the door. In 1991, he joined Ligier, but the car was a dog with 0 points that season. A lone P5 in 92 was the only highlight before he left the team. In 1993, he got a last-minute call-up to Jordan, but the car was uncompetitive and results didn't come. But where was his last F1 race? It was where it all began, Spa. Unfortunately, he retired on the first lap, and it was a decade-long F1 career bookended by Belgium. So with F1 truly in Boutsen's rearview mirror, he moved over to touring cars with little success with Ford, but where he truly made his mark was in sports cars. He came 2nd in Le Mans in 93 and 96, and he actually had wins at Brands Hatch and Spa also in 96. Moving over to the US, he teamed up with Bill Adam and Hans Stuck in the GT1 US Championship. They came 2nd at the 24 Hours of Daytona, and the following year in 97, they actually won the championship. Following this in 99, a benchmarker unfortunately sent Boutsen flying, cracking vertebrae in his back, and that was it. That was the end of his racing career. So what happened to Thierry Boutsen after racing? Well, during the last few years of his racing career, he founded a luxury private jets business called Boutsen Aviation, based in Monaco. He also founded his own racing team that race in various endurance and junior categories across motorsport. He can sometimes be found in the F1 paddock, as well as interviews online and on TV. And also he's done a few show runs in his Williams F1 racing car. So how do I rate Thierry Boutsen? Was he fast? Definitely. Did he have consistent performances? Well, not quite. For me, a driver that had the raw pace to win races, but never consistently showed up at the top. He never quite had that raw edge to be a champion or fight with those top guys. And for me, a modern equivalent to that would potentially be a Valtteri Bottas. Valtteri obviously outqualified Lewis a third of the time that they were teammates, but he never had the consistent edge to be champion. For me, Thierry Boutsen is a 6.8 out of 10.
So near the end of each video, I'll be doing a quiz, which I'm coining the Tracktastic Challenge. There'll be 5 pictures. On those 5 pictures, you'll have to guess where it is, who's in the picture. So you can have either or if there's multiple people, and also what year. So as long as you get those, and for location wise, I'm allowing either tracks or the country that it's in. But the main thing, as long as you get the year, that's 1 point. The people or person in the picture, that's another point. And where, track or country, that's another point. So total 15 points, 5 pictures, and we'll get into the first quiz.
Okay, so picture 1 looks a bit grainy, might be a bit of a hint of how old or how long ago this was. Okay, picture 2, what's unusual about that starting grid? What could that have been? Picture 3, maybe some familiar faces if you've watched F1 in recent years. As you can see on this picture, I've blued out maybe a key answer to that picture. And the final picture, picture 5, big controversy at the time, this one. Okay, so answers time. Some of you might have been eagle-eyed enough to know that that first picture, as grainy as it was Niki Lauda's crash at the 1976 German Grand Prix at the Nürburgring. The crash was so bad and so dangerous that it was essentially deemed the last time F1 would ever go racing at the original Nürburgring format. So the answer to the second picture is the US Grand Prix of 2005 at Indianapolis. Obviously, what happened here was the Michelin tyres kept blowing up in qualifying. So there were 6 drivers that are on screen there. If you had any of those, that's 1 point to go ahead. Of course, this was Indianapolis, the American Grand Prix, so location is Indianapolis, US GP. I'll have either of those as an answer, and the year 2005. Okay, so for picture 3, we had Max lashing out at Ocon after the Brazilian Grand Prix in 2018. Max was actually leading this race, and Ocon was a backmarker who tried to unlap himself. The two collided, Max spun off, and it gave Lewis Hamilton the lead of the race and the win. So Max was within his rights, but very, very angry at Ocon at the time. Picture 4 was obviously Ocon's first win at the Hungarian Grand Prix in 2021. Now, for context, this is one of the best races, in my opinion, of the modern era, the last 10, 20 years, just due to the craziness of the race. We had changeable conditions, so there's a part where everyone pits and Hamilton was the only one who stayed out. We had this crazy restart where Hamilton was the only one on track and everyone else had dived into the pits. The following lap he had to come back in. Before that, the start of the race, Bottas famously went bowling and bowled out about 5 or 6 cars, which was absolutely crazy. And somehow for it all, Alpine ended up in the lead of the race. And we had further back Alonso fighting and defending like a lion against Lewis Hamilton, who eventually got through. The answers here is Vettel, Lewis Hamilton and Esteban Ocon in the picture. The Hungarian Grand Prix, or the Hungaroring, I'll have either of those, and the year 2021. And of course, picture 5, we have Alonso blocking Hamilton at the 2007 Hungarian Grand Prix. This was part of the title battle between Alonso and Hamilton at the time. And in Q3, so the final part of qualifying, Alonso blocks Hamilton to try and get an advantage and leave not enough time on the table for Hamilton to do a final flying lap in Q3 to try and hinder him for the race, essentially. So there you have it, that's the first quiz done. Let me know how many points you got in the comments down below. Let me know obviously what you'd like to see next time in regards to any quizzes, games and other content that we can cover moving forward. What do you think of Thierry Boutsen and who should I cover next? Let me know in the comments below, like, subscribe, and if you want to see more, hit that bell icon for the next video next week. We'll see you then. Cheers.